is Yesenia Salazar. I just finished my master's in nuclear engineering at A&M this past December, and my story goes as follows. I actually started as an undergraduate, I started with a major in applied mathematics and a minor in physics. I just picked the topic because math was the only topic that really made me put more effort on it than any other topic out there. And I just knew that I wanted to go to college and do something more with myself than what the options were available at the time for someone without a bachelor's degree. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with a degree, but I knew that teaching would be an option, and at the time I didn't mind that being my route. My path went pretty smoothly, I would say. I got to meet a lot of people that were in a similar situation as I was, which was being the first one in your family to go to college in the United States. I fortunately didn't have an issue with funding, but just getting around the concept of a higher education was very new, and just having other people that were in the same position and us learning together as a group all in courses and any extracurricular activities, it was a good support to have. And upon completing my degree, I decided to continue and get a master's in nuclear engineering, just to apply the math in a more applicable way to the real world. Plus, nuclear engineering just appealed to me because there are so many branches to it, and I thought to myself, if there were to be some type of world news about a topic relating to nuclear, whether it may be medicine or nuclear weapons or new fuel discoveries, I thought I would have a better grasp of what the world is going through in the topic if I myself was a somewhat professional in the field itself. Other than that, I didn't know anybody that was a nuclear engineer. I didn't know where to start exactly. I would just ask the basic questions to get into the door, or introduce myself to people that could more or less guide me in the right direction, or at least guide me towards the first couple of steps that I had to do. I had a very different perception of what grad school turned out to be. I was under the idea that if I failed a class, that would be it. I would get kicked out, or my funding would end, and then my advisor wouldn't want me to continue, and then I would just have to go into teaching or choose a different degree, or just overall, not that there's anything wrong with that, but just having to start all over is what what I saw as a setback. Fortunately, though, it turned out that was far from reality. I didn't fail classes, but I did get the worst grades of my life in grad school. And on occasions, I would be the one that would get the worst grades in my class. And that was not something to look forward to, especially when you put in so much effort into succeeding, or at least doing good, and then you don't get the results that you want. And I would beat myself up for it, and I would try to talk to others about it, but it seemed like I was isolated in that situation. I would look around me, and it seemed like everybody else, they had a family relative or somebody that they looked up to who was their mentor and guided them from earlier on, versus me. I didn't start getting guidance or mentors in the field until I actually started it. So it was just hard to determine what my future was going to be and if I was going to continue in the career. But as previously mentioned, the experience did turn out a little bit better than I expected. My advisor did not encourage me to drop out. My lab staff and any mentors that I got along the way, they actually pretty much told me, don't quit until you get an official letter from the university or something that tells you that you have to get out. And I decided to do that, and I decided to push through. And even working in a lab atmosphere was so different. I made so many mistakes because while I had undergraduate experience in a lab, it was nowhere near as big and involved as what I was doing for my master's. So then that also happened, and overall my master's took much longer than I would have expected it to last. But finally, last semester, I presented my thesis, I got it over with, and then it dawned on me that I I technically went through this process, not on my own, because as mentioned, I had a lot of mentors that I made here, but I was in a position where I didn't know what I didn't know. So sometimes I would reach a point of complete exhaustion mentally or physically, morally, or whatever the case may be, because I would put so much effort into succeeding in this field, and I felt like I didn't get in return the investment that I put in. But then I would think, well, I guess I was just setting the bar for myself according to other people who did have mentors, who had a relative that majored in nuclear engineering, or a job that they had already been accepted to, and they already knew what they were going to do once they graduated. And in my case, that hasn't been the case yet, but I'm happy to say that through the ups and the lots of downs, I still managed to continue going. And even though I'm not where I want to be, I'm still hoping to get a start in my career and get a job in the national lab sector. I'm really happy that I finally got that chapter finished and properly done with. I feel really good about the way that everything turned out. I did have to retake courses, and I did have to learn certain things from scratch all over again, even though I thought I already had a good grasp on it. And then presenting my thesis, I felt really good about it, even though it took a really long time. Ultimately, I felt like the topic that I worked on was something that I already knew very well, and I could explain it without hesitation. And now I'm hoping that the next chapter in my life is going to be equally or even more rewarding in a personal way. And because of all of this, I would say that I am a persister.